I know. I'm just doing it on purpose.
Right, I am with Darren Tetley, former WBO European champion, chief support at Wembley, box everyone, amateur and pro, sparred everyone. I'm looking forward to this top five list. We're going to crack on with number five straight away. And you've already told me twice because this is take three. Elliot Whale.
Yeah, I think obviously on the top of my head, Elliot Whale's one of them. Just because of how switched on he was, how technical, which again on tape you don't see. Watching him on tape, you just think I'll be all right with him. It was only afterwards I think I found out he had about 97 amateur fights, 195, something like that. I was thinking I was going in with a 7-fight novice and I was going to be flying. But he just done everything right, and in fights wise, he's probably the hardest puncher that I've been in with. Whether that's just because of how technical he is and he just throws everything correct, but he's the one that you've had fights and people say, "Oh, don't know," and you're like, you don't really feel out in a fight. You don't really feel punches when you're getting it. Whereas him, I definitely felt his.
So, is it fair to say that Esserman and McKenna have not made this list?
Yeah, Avenesyan and McKenna aren't in the list, and I think that might be a case of
better than them then.
Technically, I think so. Yeah, and I think maybe it's on. I think maybe you've got to go on, kind of what headspace I was in at the time. So like for example, Esserman and McKenna. McKenna, I think I was kind of worried in my head about the power. Obviously, stopped everyone.
Is he a massive puncher?
No, not what I thought, but maybe I overestimated it. And this is like kind of what I mean is maybe they are better than Whale. Yeah. Maybe they do punch really hard, but because I had it built up in my head how bad it was going to be, so then when it kind of come to the reality, it wasn't as bad as what I thought it was going to be, if that makes sense. So it was kind of like a relief that, oh, that's not bad. But I think with McKenna, he just doesn't stop. He will just keep going. He's so aggressive. Work rate in fitness is unbelievable.
Beat Joe Laws.
Yeah. And it's funny because I remember I seen Joe. I went to watch Jordan Ellison fight, and he was fighting one of Joe's mates, and I was talking to him about it. And I said to Joe, Joe, if you're not fit, I said you're in trouble. I've never sparred Joe Laws. I've never been in the ring with him. I don't know how much of what he says is a bravado and just an act. Yeah. And if behind the scenes he's working really hard and he's got a plan. I think if he's going in just a windmill, he's probably going to get stopped. Yeah. And then Esserman, I think again, I think I overestimated. Like I was thinking, forgetting my first 12 round, if it gets to like 9-10 and I can't keep him off, and am I going to be able to keep him off me? And then I think again, I didn't really see the reality. He didn't really go through the gears and I felt like I was catching a lot on the gloves. So I didn't really feel that pressure as much. Obviously, I'm not saying I won the fight, but it wasn't as overwhelming as what
I thought at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't as overwhelming as what I thought it was going to be. Maybe whereas with Elliot Whale, I went in thinking I was kind of going to be too experienced, too good. So kind of if I'd have gone into the McKenna and Esserman fight, thinking that maybe then I'd have been shocked in that sense as well.
Right, so who have we got at number 4?
See, this is where I struggled with the ordering, but I'd say probably Terry Flanagan.
Flanagan, yeah. Flanagan were brilliant though, weren't he?
Yeah, Flanagan. The way Dave with him was the second and third phase attacks that he done. He wouldn't, we might go in and go, bang, 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 and then go for a little walk or have a look and a few jabs. He'd go ba bang, ba bang, ba ba bang, and you think, fucking hell, and he'd never stop. So he was definitely number 4.
What about the size of him? It's only a lightweight. You're obviously a welterweight, not a small welterweight. What were he a huge lightweight or?
Yeah, it was fairly. I think he was a bit shorter than me. Yeah. But you didn't look at him and think, he's like that. Yeah. It was very fit. Again, it wasn't a one punch.
Not a punch.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a one punch. Where whatever shot at you, but it hit you that many times, and he just would the pace leading in, the pace had never stopped. His punch output would never go. I remember, I think it was like the fifth or sixth round or something. I can't remember what it was, and we was going out, and I said, "Come on, man!" And I tried planting my feet, and my head had gone, so I just thought, I'm just gonna stand and swing with you. So I tried standing and swinging, and he caught with a body shot, and you do that noise.
Yeah.
I did that, and he went, "You wanted this?" Oh, fucking! So I just kept going.
Can you tell the difference, even though he's a lightweight? British title level at welterweight, yeah, Esserman, McKenna, Whale, Flanagan, because world champion. Can you tell that difference in strength and toughness and fitness and whatever it is that makes them
Yeah,
special?
I think it was years ago. I think I don't know. I don't think I'd have won the WBO European when I sparred Flanagan. I might have done. But you can just, and I think it's more, Dave, I think as boxers, we're all used to getting punched. We're not really, yeah, some punch harder than others, but you kind of live with it. But I think when you get to people who's in this top four, they know when to turn it on. And that is worse than any one punch you're going to get. When they know and they keep coming and you're not used to boxing at that level, and they can just keep going and going and turning the screw, and you feel like you're drowning, you feel like, I don't know what to do. And I think that's the difference with my top four is them types of feelings.
So who have you got at number 3?
So 2 and 3 are close, but I've sparred one more. I'd say Kell, Brook 3.
Yeah.
I remember Kell, Brook. I was doing sound. First,
Shoes though, even compared to you, he's massive, isn't
it? Yeah. Oh, massive. I remember this was before my 12th fight or something. So I hadn't won anything at the time. And I remember going in the gym at Winkerbank, and he was there, and he was chatting. All right, mate. All right, yeah. And then he went and got changed, came back, and he was like just a switch, like fucking evil eyeing me, like getting his just staring at me, and I'm thinking, fuck me, you want to kill me. And it was for the Errol Spence fight. So I remember first one, first, second, third, I was all right. Fourth, I was in there. And then I remember towards the back end of the fourth, he had chocolate brownie on his head guard. And it was a weird feeling because it was like, I read it and I was like, fuck me, I'm in the ring with Kell Brook here. And then I just flapped it. I didn't know what to do. So then the end of the fourth finish, and then the fifth, he pretty much done what he wanted with me. Just turned the screw just a little bit, but I'm quite an honest person, and you could see that he could do whatever he wanted, and he knew it. So after 5, he gave me a bit of an hiding in the 5th round, and Mick in the corner said, "That'll do us."
Were you relieved at this point or not?
Nah, because you're stubborn at you're thinking I'm gonna look like a fucking bitch here. So he says to him, "Well, that'll do." So they went, "Oh no, we'll get 6 in, but we'll back off a bit." So Mick looked at me. I said, "Fuck that." So I'll do 6. I've come to do 6. I'll do what I've come to do. So the 6th round, I've gone out, and he didn't back off. But then at this point, I thought, well, I'm either going to get pummeled from one corner to the next, or I can just bite down and just try swing it out with him. So I think the 6th round, I just planted my feet and just tried having a straight fight with him.
I body sparring Kell, and the power was unbelievable, really.
I think the accuracy got me more than the power.
He was just heavy though, just heavy. Like, yeah, you say it's in the right place. He was really heavy.
It's footing. It's like a footing power. Liam Taylor's the same. Liam Taylor's exactly the same. It's just a foot every shot.
When Kell hit me, that really hurts. That.
Yeah, he's very. That 6th round, I think I just got in my head. I think the 5th round will panic and kind of thinking I don't know what to fucking do. Yeah. And then the 6th round, I think the bit of the Youngwood estate come out of me, and I just thought I'm just gonna have to plant my feet, or I'm gonna get battered.
What, you are getting paid for this though, weren't you? This is paid sparring.
Yeah. I got paid for it. Yeah.
Did you found that when you got paid sparring, you got more fists? Like they tried. When I got paid to spar, for the most part, they weren't messing about and money were involved.
Yeah, I think obviously your pay sparring were probably a lot more than what I were getting, but I think because I think well, if they're paying you, they've kind of brought you in for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, like he will fight in Errol Spence, so they brought me in for a reason. They're not just doing a Monday afternoon sparring session for nothing. They've got a plan of what they need to do in that actual fight. So the only way they could, if they're practicing getting a big right hand off, the only way they can practice getting that off is on my head. So, you know, and I think they probably want to make you earn the money as well. So
we've got two techniques. I'm not sure. I know one of them, but the other one I'm not so sure. So who's it two?
I'm not going to say, but you know one of them because you were there.
I know one of them. Yeah, I know one of them very well.
Yeah.
So I know
Avenesyan.
Avenesyan too. So
Yeah.
you think he's number one? Yeah, that's interesting. So I was wondering actually.
Avenesyan's too.
Avenesyan's got his nails, isn't
he? And I sparred him, Dave. Like I sparred him when he first come over to the country in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I sparred him multiple times. I remember, you know, for many reasons, for fights or just sparring. But I think he's the only one, when you watch him and when you're in there with him, you can feel him going through the gears. You can actually feel it, and you just know what's coming.
Is he strong?
Very strong. Very strong. And he switches and I mean, I hadn't sparred him for years. But when I like to think when I was sparring him, it was like around the Shane Mosley time and that sort of time, obviously before, and then when he first come over. But I think just so, you know, pre Josh Kelly, I sparred him, and post Josh Kelly, and I think he just goes through the gears and he just doesn't. He does it kind of. If you're inspiring and you hurt someone, you might be like, "Oh fucking hell, I'll back off a bit." He doesn't, and he's a sound fella outside the ring, like. But when you're in there, he's just going to give you. He's going to give you it until you can't take it, or until the spar's finished. I remember he come to mix, and I was a younger Tom and Luke. Tom and Luke were sparring him. I wasn't even sparring him, but I went to watch. And Mick says to me, "Oh, just bring your stuff just in case." I thought my stuff's always in the car anyway, so I said, "Yeah." I thought I'm not. I'm just gonna sit and watch this and enjoy not getting smacked in the mouth by him. And I think it was with Luke in the first 30 seconds of the first round. I think he broke Luke's nose. So Luke had to get out. So Mick said, "That's good, but you can do it last 4." I thought, "Oh, for fuck's sake."
Who do you think would have won at the best, Kell or Avenesyan?
I think Avenesyan just because of the weight. I think Kell struggled too bad at welterweight. And obviously I heard Avenesyan was the one who broke Kell's ribs. I don't know if that's true.
That's the title of this video. That's an exclusive from Darren Tetley now.
Yeah, so I've heard that. I don't know how true it is.
Really good. Obviously, it's short with Boots and Crawford, but they're the elite, aren't they?
Yeah, and do you know what it is, Dave? I think that shows you kind of, people say levels in boxing, and when you've been in with like Kell, Brook and Avenesyan and stuff like that, and then you watch like Crawford versus Brook, Crawford versus Avenesyan, like you say, Boots, and you watch them people against them, and you kind of say, what's that?
How good must they be, Crawford and Boots?
And that's what you think, fucking hell, I used to wait sparring Avenesyan, and you've just stopped him. And Brook, I used to wait sparring Brook, and you've just absolutely annihilated him, and Spence the same. And you just think, blooming hell, that they must be they must be even worse to spar. But yeah, so I say Avenesyan and Brook are very close.
Yeah. Number 1, Jack Catterall. Even number 1 on a few lists now. Even number 1 on a few lists. I think he's incredible. He's so clever, isn't
he? Yeah, and I remember you can actually speak. You can actually think of his story, confirm it. The first time I ever sparred him, and I remember from the amateurs and stuff. Winning national.
Great amateur. He weren't
No, and I remember when he was boxing like Tom Stalker and stuff. I remember, I don't know if I once text Mick, "I'll have the Catterall fight."
Yeah.
Because I genuinely believed from the amateurs, I think I've got the beating of him. And then I sparred him. I don't think it was much. I think it was about a year after the thingy fight, and you were there, and he just battered me. he just done what he wanted. He didn't drop me, but he just done what he wanted.
That was the first time I watched him and thought, Jesus, this fella's top class.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I'd like to say that I've sparred him a lot since then, and you know, I'm not saying I've won the spars, but I've been competitive in them. You know, I've won rounds and stuff like that. But I think with him, it's just I like a slow pace, and I think I enjoy sparring him. Out of all the top 5 list, I'd rather spar him, but even though he's the best, because I just think style wise, I kind of do all right with him, if that makes sense. But just everything he does is I don't know. Obviously, I know Joe sparred him. I find him heavy-handed.
Yeah, Joe said the same. Yeah, very strong.
I think he's very heavy-handed, and just is a nightmare to hit.
The thing with him, strength and the power will surprise people because he don't look like a puncher or nothing, does he?
No, and it's like if throws his 1-2, and you know it's coming, you box long enough to you know how to get away from it, but you just can't.
My favorite.
I don't.
About 8 jabs in a row as well. It feels about 8 jabs.
And it'll go bang, 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 bang with jabs, and then you'll think, right, now I'll break, I'll get set again, and then it'll just go bang with a backhand, and you think, fuck, you know. And he's the best person. 99.9 off thinking he's the best person I've been in the ring with.
Yeah, he's like, I think he's still brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and I think the one thing I don't get, Dave, is obviously you've been in the gym, you've trained with him, you've took Joe sparring with him, and is where everyone gets his boring from. I don't understand where they get his boring.
I think real boxing fans, boxing people, you can appreciate it, can't you? It's not the most exciting, slow pace. He's clever. He's behind that shoulder, but for me as a boxing fan, I love to watch him. I enjoy watching him.
I sparred him a few times. I sparred him for the first Taylor fight. I remember sparring him. I knew, but it wasn't announced that I was fighting Esserman. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I sparred him for the second one. But he's just exceptionally good. And I think, like you say, everything. You know, I'm not saying he can hit people once and spark and clean out. He has. He's done that, but just how clever he is, and you just have to explain out to anyone how good he is, unless you've been in there with him.
You can see he's a puzzle, isn't he? And then he's strong enough, and it's if you do get.
You're sparring or back off it, and he's like got his arm, and he's like feeling for ropes and stuff, and then he sits on them, and you're like, I've got you now, and then you'll throw about 2 shots, miss, and then he'll lamp you one. So then straight away, then as soon as he goes back to ropes, you're thinking, no, I'm not coming at you. No. But then he gets the centre of the ring back, and you can't do up with him then either.
I'll tell you something, Tyler, that's a very good list. There's only
the fifth. The fifth. I mean,
I expected.
Yeah, well, the fifth is obviously hard because I like now, just while I've been on the phone, in the Commonwealth UK final, I boxed a guy, an Australian called Daniel Lewis, who went to 2012 Olympics.
Oh, really?
So number 5 will change constantly. But fresh in me.
Sam Bowen were great.
Sam Bowen, exactly. Sam Bowen's there. Robbie Davies.
Joe Hayden. Dave Allen.
Joe Hayden, your mate Joe's there.
When I sparred you and you couldn't lay a glove on me, I thought I had him in the top 5, to be honest. So.
Dave's the only heavyweight that spars welterweights and does not give a shit about hitting them.
You couldn't even hit me. I had to hit you back, otherwise it'd have been the worst spar ever.
Yeah. Dave could be number 5. Could put you at number 5.
I reckon number 4, but Tetley, I really appreciate your time, mate. That was really good, mate, honestly.
Anytime, mate, anytime.
Right, thank you very